Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. I hope that you're all doing okay today. I just felt really called to record a podcast this morning around shadow work and a little bit about what I've been experiencing and a little bit about what I'm kind of observing in the world at the moment. And just as I do, give a different kind of spin, a different kind of perspective to maybe just plant a seed, and you can take what you want, leave what you don't. I'm not here to tell you what to think or what to believe. I just wanted to throw out my perspective and see if it resonates with you, and if it does, great. If it doesn't, great. Either way, it doesn't it's your life, right? It's your life, and it's down to you what you choose. And ultimately that's the thing, isn't it? It's what we choose. Now, I have been finding over the last few days, well, certainly over the last year, but definitely over the last few days, I've had so much shadow work. And what I mean by shadow work is I've had a lot of past trauma being triggered. So, for example, having a conversation with somebody and feeling like they are judging me, or feeling like they are judging somebody that I know, and that triggering an emotion in me, rather than reacting to it and blaming that other person, or thinking that that other person is doing something wrong or not being very nice, being unkind, what have you. What I've been doing is recognizing that actually the reason why I'm feeling triggered is because that's actually highlighting a program, an experience, something that's happened in my life, and it's shining a big old torch on it, and it's saying, right, you need to learn the lesson from this. How can you be better? Excuse me. So this is something that I don't think that enough of us actually do, because the hardest thing to do is actually to accept that whenever something is bothering us, whenever something is igniting a negative emotion within us, it has absolutely nothing to do with the person that has ignited that feeling. And it has everything to do with us. It has everything to do with our own healing. It has everything to do with us needing to be better, and maybe start to drop these identities that we've created for ourselves. I actually shared yesterday on a live on Instagram about how I actually used to see myself as someone that was broken. I used to see myself as someone that was very broken, and I used to. I actually remember when I met my ex-husband. I remember him saying to me, "Why is it that you love me? Because I'm broken." And I remember saying, "Because I'm broken too." That's literally how we felt. And let me just tell you that if you both feel like that and you're coming together in a relationship, it doesn't fix either one of you. It is literally like matches and a firework. Because ultimately we're not broken. None of us need fixing. We just have things that have happened in our life, experiences that have happened in our lives that we have suppressed, that we've not taken the lessons from. I mean, that particular relationship was the biggest lesson that I had in my whole life. And I'm so grateful for it, because at the time I was such victim mentality. But now I look back and I'm like, I am so pleased that I actually experienced all that, because I would not be the woman that I am today. So because I used to see myself as quite a broken person, and then when I kind of, moved away from that relationship, and I moved away from that job, and I moved away from those friends, and I met, my partner that I'm with today, and he started to teach me that actually the way that I was allowing myself to be treated was not normal, and the way that I was behaving was not normal, and started to really shine a light on things like that for me. That was kind of my beginning of starting to like rediscover who I actually was. And then after I had my daughter and I kind of took a big dip again, and then found personal development and actually network marketing, but ultimately personal development. I then created this new identity for myself, where I realized, okay, I'm not my past. That is just a place of reference, not residence. Like it, And I know that these all sound like really cliche and really cheesy, but it is true, right? And so I created this new identity where I was like, wow, I can actually be, do, and have anything that I want. And I went from one extreme to another. Now, because I went from one extreme to another, it started really inspiring people. And I was helping people transform their lives, even if it was in a small way, or even if it was in a big way, you know, unintentionally, just through showing up as somebody different, as a different identity to who I was before. But actually now what I'm finding between 2020 and 2021, I'm actually having to shed that identity, because I'm no longer this person that's gone from really being a victim to stepping into my power and not feeling like I'm a victim anymore. I've gone to a different level where now I'm like, none of that actually matters. I don't want to be an identity. I'm not out here trying to, because there was still an element of me, even when I was being really positive and things like that, that was actually not being myself. I was being parts of other people. You know, I was being so inspired by the people that I was around, which is amazing, and I'm totally advocate, you know, having a great environment and people around you. But I was actually becoming more of them. I was trying to, I got to a stage where, because I didn't know how to behave in that way, I didn't understand how to be positive, I didn't know how to, you know, influence, or, you know, how to put myself out on social media. I was just taking a lot of inspiration from other people. But then what happened was I ended up almost kind of getting obsessed, and not in the good way, because it become comparison of comparing myself to other people that were doing the same sorts of things as me. Or worse, I was comparing that version of me that was so inspired to people that I was meeting, that was coming into my life, or people that I was seeing, and I was going, well, I should be there by now. You know, I should have that following, I should have that subscription, I should have that business, that should be me. I went into this state of entitlement, and it was bizarre. It was so weird. And at that stage, that's when I realized, who even are you? Actually, Natalie, you need to do some work on yourself. You need to go inwards. That's when I started meditating more. That's when I started deciding, do you know what? I do need to connect more to my spiritual side. For years, I've been told by many spiritual people, you know, you need to reconnect with that. I needed to ground. I needed to start listening to what I wanted. I needed to start listening to who I was, what I was saying, as opposed to what other people were saying. I needed to stop wanting to be the one that people came to. And that was an identity that I created for myself. And I share this today because because that's what I've been going through, and I just want to share what I'm going through, because someone else might be going through the same thing and you don't even realize it. You don't realize that it's an identity. It's like a midlife crisis, or how I imagine a midlife crisis would be, because I'm not quite there yet. But it's like how I imagine a midlife crisis would be, where you're basically you don't know who you are anymore, because you played this role for such a long time and you thought it's who you was, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, actually, like that isn't entirely my message. It's not entirely, I'm not standing in my truth. And I tell you how you know when you're not standing in your truth: when you feel like you cannot openly communicate what you believe. Not pushing your opinion on somebody, but when you feel like you can't openly communicate what you believe on a soul level, then you are not speaking your truth. You're not embodying your truth. In fact, you don't even have to be speaking your truth out loud. You're not embodying your truth, and your message is a vibration. If I look back at the people that have literally come into my life, it has been because I have been speaking in that moment from my soul, or I have been working on myself, and then these people have just come into my life because they've aligned with the same frequency that I'm putting out. They might not have even seen me on social media before. They might not have even heard of anything that I'd said or seen any of my posts. But vibrationally, we became a match because I worked on myself. And now I'm at this other level of working on myself, and I'm starting to become, or I have been, an observer. And I'm standing back and I'm watching things unfold in front of me. And I have some observations around things that have been happening even over the last 24 hours. And I just want to put this perspective out there, because I'm not for or against any sides, right? All I care about is that people think for themselves, that they love themselves, that they're empowered, and that they are healthy. My life's purpose is to use my motivation and my passion to inspire other people to be free thinking, healthy creators of change. Right? That is my life's purpose. And it feels good to me to say that, because I know that that's what I love to do. Right. And yeah, so just a few observations of what I've been thinking, what's been unfolding, especially in America over the last kind of, not even 24 hours. But what if it's not about politics? What if it's not about who is in charge? What if everything that is happening right now is meant to be shining a light on what you are not doing, what you have not learned? Violence is never okay. It's never okay. And it seems to me that at one stage, middle of last year, it was kind of condoned. It was kind of okay because it fitted most people's perception, their narrative at the time. It was excused. But now it is not. There is never an excuse for violence. There is never an excuse to take somebody else's life. There is never an excuse to lash out at somebody. Just yesterday, my little girl shouted at me because she was stressed because she couldn't do something. And so what I did, I sat there calmly and I listened to what she had to say. And I kept trying to say to her really calmly that it's not okay to do that. And in the end, what I decided to do was shout back at her. And so she felt it. She felt what I did. And then I calmed my voice right down. And I said, that was not okay for mummy to do that. I wanted to show you how it's about how you make somebody feel. And it's never okay to shout at people. Did it make you feel good when mummy just did that? Did it? Did it make me feel good for doing it? So I know that you don't feel good when you're shouting. So please just remember, it is never okay to do that to somebody. Okay, so it is just not okay. Violence is never excused or condoned. But what if what is happening right now is actually shining a massive torch on you? What if nobody else in the world, what if it doesn't matter? What if this is all about us actually seeing how the way that the world has been up until this point has not been okay? It's not been okay to separate people down to color. It's not been okay to separate people down to whether or not they're better or worse at something because of their gender. And by the way, I'm not saying that people should be gender neutral. I think that it's wild that this is even coming up now, that they're even kind of trying to stop people from calling somebody a mother or a father. Like, as much as I don't believe that we are a specific identity, those sorts of things are a little bit too far out of my line of kind of belief and conception right now. But what I'm saying is just what if actually it's not okay to point a finger at a specific leader and say that how they have actually run something is not is not okay, that they've made mistakes. And again, I have my own opinions around what I can kind of see unfolding, but ultimately what I want you to just kind of think about is every time you are sharing something that creates polarity, that creates a divide, I want you to take a little look at what it is just before you post it, just before you're putting it out there, even if it is, you know, and I can absolutely hold my hand up and say, you know, I've been someone that said to people before, just take your mask off, because I don't believe in it. But it's not okay for me to do that. It's not okay for me to do that because that person does. But it's also not okay for that person to tell me what I should do. Does that make sense? It's we are continuously playing into division, and the phrase, the saying of united we stand and divided we fall has never been so true and so prominent. So I just felt like I wanted to kind of put that perspective out there and just say, like, you know, this isn't about anyone else. This is about you. This is about you. This is about you being better. This is about you looking after yourself. This is about you being good to yourself. This is about you being kind. This is about you understanding what's right and what's wrong. This is about you not playing into the polarity and the divide and rising above it and becoming an observer and actually asking yourself, what do I feel about this? Is any one particular person to blame, or a group of people to blame? Or actually, is the entire system that is currently kind of being, it appears to be falling apart, right? The way that our life was, you know, people keep trying to cling on to this. You've got some people that speak about a new normal, you know, whatever you believe, but then also you've got people that are clinging on to this. I just want things to go back to the way that they were. Guys, the way that things were before was not working. It was not. It was not working that way. It was not okay for us to call people names. It was not okay for our people to be racist. It was not okay for people to fight. It's not okay. The way that things were working before was not okay. And what's happening now is that more of this is becoming obvious. It's not that any of this is becoming more so. It's that we are starting to open our eyes to how bad things actually were. So what if now was a time for us to look at our own shadows, do our own work, and do our part for the collective? Because every time we make ourselves better, it increases our frequency, it increases our vibration, and that inspires other people to do the same. You don't even have to say anything. They can feel it. They can feel the difference in the air. So I'm going to leave that there because I've got to get back to homeschooling. I hope everyone has an amazing day. Let me know if this resonated with you, and I look forward to seeing you all or speaking to you all soon.